Good morning. This morning it's my pleasure to introduce Alex Katsman from the Bar Agency. Alex and I have known each other a long time, and I'm going to tell you that one of the things that I love about Alex, he hounds me sometimes to provide more education, which always warms my heart about whenever a company owner, a company managing broker wants his people to keep getting smarter and smarter. So Alex, good morning this morning. I'm so delighted you're here.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask you, the first question will be, why do you hound me about education?
Because I truly believe education is the most important thing in our profession. We can be the best friends, we can talk a lot, we can show, and we can have a lot of time showing and just explaining people some things, but it's been a lot of changes. It's always in this profession. We have to learn a lot to be on the top of everything. We have to make sure that we are licensed. We have to know exactly what we are talking about. We have to make sure that we are not providing the false information to our clients. Our agents are usually, I'm trying to get them to be educated as much as possible, to take any classes as possible.
I certainly can appreciate that. You talked about changes in the industry. We're having a lot of changes. You know, one thing I don't know about you is how long have you had the company?
In this company, we about 7 years since we opened it, but I got my license actually exactly 24 years ago.
All right, so you've seen a lot of changes in the industry.
Yes.
One of the things that we're thinking about here now, especially with kind of what's going on in the industry right now, is how we're going to reinvent ourselves. Because you, in 24 years, you've already reinvented. You were still here when we all worked for the sellers years and years ago. That was a big reinvention. When we had I call them lovingly the bad times, when we had foreclosures that we didn't know what to do with them. You had to reinvent yourself. Looks like we're in another period of reinvention here. How are you prepping your agents for that?
That's these changes. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure put in our shoulders because we are not used to it. Mm-hmm. Most of us. Yes, we all know there is a contract for buyers. How many agents were using it for the last 10, 15 years? I doubt it's a lot.
Many,
right. So it's because of the market was kind of changing in the terms of that if you work, if you're professional, if you know what you do and how you present yourself and how you're going to help your clients, you're most likely going to be successful. But now we have to think about even more how to protect our time, our money, and our knowledge. Because, of course, from my experience, yes, a lot of buyers, unfortunately, do not think this profession really exists. And I've seen this more and more often that people say, it's fine, may I bring my friends for showings. May I do this? I get a very good question, which I usually use as an example. One of my old clients called me and said, listen, my friend wants to buy something. But I told him, you have to work with several agents because otherwise you're not going to find anything. And that guy, I knew him for a long time, and I explained to him a lot of things. So now we really, I think these changes, it's a big change. Yes, we're going to lose a lot of agents.
Maybe.
I think.
I wouldn't argue with you about that.
Yeah, but I've seen more and more agents are trying to use this profession just for easy money. It's not easy money. We have to learn a lot. We have to work a lot. And I think these changes are going to create something for us, for agents, brokers, I would say, to concentrate on something which is really important for us, to work for our clients, to explain, to be confident how to explain to our clients that why we have to sign this contract, why we have to be paid, because it's not just a show and open the door. It's a lot of work behind the whole process.
I think you're absolutely right. I think for a long time, I do think there's a lot of people in the public who think you open the door, and that's what your job is. And that is so not your job. There are a whole lot of other things that you do with that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what are you doing to train your agents to do that?
Especially lately, like several months ago, when a few months ago, when everything is kind of show up, and we've heard a lot of things. We've heard a lot of people talking about this lawsuit and those things. Especially with our office, we have some meetings. I strongly recommend to start learning about that, to ask questions, to call you guys, because this is our main source to get more information from the first, from the people who know about it, from the first. First hand, right? And we have more and more. And unfortunately for us, I have more phone calls from our agents than last several years. A lot of agents work remotely, they want to be independent, but now, because this changes, I've seen them more and more often. I have created some time for them to, and they ask me to talk to me. They want to be in the office and ask questions. Now we are thinking about getting more classes, and maybe I'm sending them to here to board, and they want to be in the office. They want to learn more. They want to spend some time with us. So it's just they ask questions about how to do this, how to do that. I didn't hear these questions 2 years ago.
Isn't that interesting? So in some ways, this is almost going to go backwards to the way it was before COVID, when we did have people come in the office and do that. Yes, interesting. You yourself, your business has changed over time. I remember the last time we spoke, you talked about where your business is located, that your markets are changing a little bit. Yeah. Why do you suppose that your markets are changing like that?
In our specific situation, we have mostly agents who came from different countries, as the language is a second, English is a second language for us. So we used to stick with the communities, with people who speak the same language, and just areas with the good schools, better schools for kids. Now, because it's just too expensive, it doesn't have to be close to our parents or friends, because a lot of people come in here without knowing anyone. We are trying to find something, our clients trying to find something better, newer, larger, lower taxes. That's why we have to drive farther and farther. So right now, I would say I have a 1 hour driving direction around our office, in the old area covered by our office. And it's not just driving there and again open the door. We've learned about the areas before we even go there. It's more time spent learning about that. It's not only MLS, creating CMS, and also checking sources like Google, what's going on in the area, how much time you can spend around the house, what do we have around the house, schools, how close is it to the highways. It's a lot of work, extra work we have to do, but our clients are happy with that. That's why we these days, I don't think it's you can stick with 1 or 2 areas. You have to be all over the place, and not only be there, but you have to know the areas.
That's very interesting, because what you're talking about is some demographical changes as well. And you mentioned, you don't live by your parents anymore.
Right.
And so people who live by their parents would live in the neighborhood down the street from them, and they would all speak Polish. I came from city neighborhoods too. Everybody would know everybody, and everybody at home you would speak Polish. The kids in school would speak English. So you've got a whole different demographic going on here. And it's spreading, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So you're not focusing on price points as much as you are, some on price points, it sounds like, but also just finding the right places for your people.
Absolutely.
All right. It's interesting that you say a lot of your agents have English as a second language. It's one of the things I'm noticing very much when we do orientation. How are you handling, do you find that a difficult situation, or is it not a difficult situation?
I wouldn't say it's a difficult situation. We have one language we speak, main language. It's in this case it's a Russian language. But we came from, especially most of our agents, we came from one country which used to be Soviet Union. We have some stuff in we are similar in some things, we're different in other things, because over years it's changed, and now we have all different countries. But the agents work for us. The main thing is they really want to learn, and we understand each other in terms of how to learn. They ask questions, and the language we use. We sometimes speak English too in the office.
I didn't mean to say that I didn't think that you did.
Right, but very interesting that at some point what we've learned, it's easier to learn in English than in other languages, because it's new for many agents in our office. Because the industry itself, that's a little bit of my background. I started in Dutch. It was the first touch of real estate, and back in 1992 till 1995 when I decided to immigrate. So it was something we called real estate, but it was completely different. And what I've heard now, and I was in contact with my friends in Kyiv, in Ukraine, they still have this kind of industry. It's been they've learned a lot, it's changed a lot, but it's not even close to what we do here. There are some rules here. There are, we have attorneys involved, we have title companies. They don't have such a thing. So people when come here, they know that there is real estate in the United States, and they've learned that it's completely different. And the one of the reasons it's easy for me to talk to them, because I know the difference. What I've learned back in 90s and what I'm getting from my friends I have a couple of friends in Ukraine, in Kyiv, that are agents right now. And they've been asking me questions, how we do it here, in comparing, and they're telling me how they do it over there.
Interesting.
And it's very, very different.
Different. When you came here and started your businesses, what did you do to build business? Years ago, not now, because I'll ask you about that too, but when you first came, what did you do to build business?
I'm a pretty open person. I know a lot of people, and I always talk to people. I call people, and it helped me a lot when I started. I call all my friends, and I told them that I am in a business. It was tough, because in order to build a trust, to be friends is one thing, but to be a professional and to be this trust from other people to, okay, he's new, but I can go and buy. That's completely different thing. And it was, for me, it took time, but I spent lots of time over the phone. I have a good teachers, I would say, the people I work for. It's Gregory Berdyshev. It used to be a Prime Realty Group. I've learned a lot from him, from Vitaly Polyakov, the owners of this Prime Realty. And actually, Gregory is my partner now. So over years, I've learned a lot how to do it, how to create business, how to deal with different type of personalities, different people, how to show, how to explain. And also I've learned how to lose. Because it's also a big thing for me. It was for me like to understand that it's not just I lose my client or I lose a deal. It's knowledge. Everything happened in our life for a reason. And it took me a time to learn, and that's what I'm spreading to our agents. Use it as a knowledge. Whatever happens, it's going to bring something more for you. But you have to understand every single step you've learned. It's your knowledge.
I love that. And that's such a kinder way to teach your agents to stay on top of things rather than, oh, I've lost. But no, you've learned instead. I love that one instead. What are you doing to keep business rolling today? Let me be more specific. Are you using social media a lot?
A lot. I've used it in a way I think it's the more professional one. I've seen a lot of different videos, podcasts, just reels, stories. I think it's the wrong way to do it yourself. Of course, you have to hire a company, and it's a big change. And I think it's a lot of changes coming with this using social media, good way, bad way. But we have to be careful with that as well. But I think social media is main source today, especially for new agents, to get clients, and combination of being socially open and spreading your information, and also being licensed and provide the right information. That's what we have to be careful, and that's what I explaining to our agents in the office. And that's combining that with the phone calls using the old way, sending emails, which is I call it already old way
Old
too.
way, yes, okay,
but
there we are.
all
aren't we?
together, we still have to do it. Replacing something with social media, I don't think it's the right way. We have to add social media to what we've been doing.
I like that.
Modifying stuff, modifying the way you send in emails, your pictures, and of course, the more it's social, the more we have to be careful because we're licensed.
You keep saying that word licensed. I think in all the interviews that I've done, and I've done a bunch of these, you're the first one who keeps saying, you have to be licensed, you have to be careful. I mean, I don't think everybody was out being in the Wild West, but clearly this is important to you, that people get it right when they're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And of course, we can make mistakes, but there's always explanation for something, and it has to be, we have help from you guys, from attorneys and the hotline. But that's interesting. I called them a couple of times and they didn't have an answer for me. The world changed. The industry has been changing, and it's normal. And the way they explain it, that's what I'm telling my clients. That don't worry about it. When we are here for you. You can ask us. We have 2 brokers. You can call your board. You call attorneys in hotline. You have a lot of help. Yeah.
That's one of the things I think in this period that we're going through, really particularly right now, people are calling us and we're saying we don't know. We're not sure yet. Hold on, don't get panicky yet. But we don't have enough information to give you good information yet. And I would think that that's easy for me to say because I have all of you asking about it, but I don't have people who are out on the street earning their living that way. I would imagine that's fairly frustrating. How are you handling this? Stay calm, keep working. We don't know what will happen next. Let's prepare for what we can and stay calm. Are you having trouble with that? Are you doing okay with that?
Yes, we do have troubles. Of course, we don't know.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to do, stay closer to the agents. Call them myself. Tell them to call me. Come to the office. In this specific period of time, we have to make sure that even if they have some frustrations, they're closer to us. They ask us these questions, and all together we can create something with all our knowledge. We work with attorneys. We can call attorneys. We can call inspectors, depending on the questions. We can call title company, right? These days, it's especially with our years of knowledge. Me and Gregory, and a couple of agents, top producers in our office, we can help a lot, especially for newer agents. But we just need to make sure we know what they have some questions. It's like they have to ask, and we can try to help. But again, I will repeat myself, it's very important to stay close to agents to make sure they understand that we are, as a brokers, managing brokers, we are here to help. And we know how difficult it is. We are going through the same thing, but from our point of view, we can help and give some advice to new agents. There is a reason I'm talking about more and more about new agents without experience, because it's the segment of agents who are going to be hit more harder.
Probably.
I'd say not more harder, because for us it's still difficult, but we have experience. For them, they don't know what to do. They just hit to this business with a lot of things in their head, and based on what happened, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to. They spend so much time getting the license, going through some continuing educations. They learn a lot, but they need good support.
I think I'm going to end that here because that's one of the cool things that you've been different. Our interview's been different than some of the other. And I think the soundest advice you're giving certainly to brokers, managing brokers, is you have to hold your people close right now. I think that's fabulous advice that you're giving. So, Alex, thank you. Call me anytime about education. I'll see what I can arrange for you. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Just a note, the views of our guests may not reflect the views of the North Shore-Barrington Association of Realtors.